Hi, I'm Daniel Bennington, and today I'm going to talk to you about sus chords. You may have come across a chord labeled something like C sus, D sus, or A sus in your music. So what does the sus mean? Well, in order to answer that, we'll need to look at how chords are constructed. Chords are formed by taking the first, third, and fifth notes of a major scale or minor scale to form what is known as a triad. When we compare the major triad to the minor triad, we find that there is only one different note. In the example given, C major is spelled C, E, and G, whereas C minor is spelled C, E flat, and G. So in the minor triad, the third is lowered. In fact, it's the third that gives a triad its quality or identity, major versus minor. Now that we've talked a bit about chord construction, we can get to the bottom of what's meant by sus chords. Sus is short for suspended, which in this case means the lack of any kind of third, major or minor. Because of this, these chords have a neutral quality about them. Suspended chords are named as such because they suspend a pitch from a preceding chord into the following chord, creating a delayed resolution that is quite beautiful. As for the numbers, the 2 and 4 refer to which scale degrees to include besides the third. That is to say, which of the notes from the parent major or minor scale to include, the second note or the fourth note. Interestingly, when you compare a major scale and a minor scale that share the same root, these pitches are actually the same between both scales. If no numbers are given and only the abbreviation sus, it's common to assume that the fourth is to be included instead of the major or minor third. Suspended chords are typically followed by a major or minor chord sharing the same root note. Traditionally, the suspended pitch is a common tone between the sus chord and the chord that precedes it, which means there is a note that is in both the suspended chord and the chord that comes before it. It's almost like we forgot to move one of our fingers. Let's look at a few examples using mostly open chord positions. There might be a few chords that are new to you, so chord charts will be displayed on screen as well. You might notice in the examples that the suspended pitch is often emphasized. Usually this is done by omitting certain pitches that are higher than the suspended pitch so that our ear hears the suspended pitch as the topmost note, and sometimes that might involve reconfiguring the chord entirely. If we think of suspended chords as simply chords that contain a note that is late to transition to its rightful place, then we can conceive of many different suspensions beyond just the second or fourth scale degree. In fact, it's possible to combine more than one suspension at a time. However, if you prefer to use suspended chords in a way that perhaps doesn't abide by this sort of system, that's perfectly okay as well. They are quite neutral sounding, as we said earlier, and as such, really allow for a lot of different potential as for what follows them. However, I find that it is true what they say, in that you can't break the rules until you know what they are. Hopefully this has been useful for you, and I'll see you next time.